Hi, welcome to Rebel Holiday and You. Today, we're talking about something a little different. And before you decide it's not for you, let's find out if it is. Have you ever stood in front of your closet and said, I have nothing to wear? Have you ever wandered through stores saying, I don't know what to buy? Have you ever stood in a furniture store looking at a major purchase and said, I don't know which sofa or which chair is right for me in my home? Today we're talking about line. We're talking about one of the 5 core design elements, which is line. And line is very important in your life. You may not know it, but it is. And it's important because everything we see, it has lines in it. Everything we see is made up of lines. There's lines in architecture. There are lines in your car. There's lines in the inside structure of your home. There are lines in the furniture and every item that you buy for your home, whether it's a candlestick or whether it's a vase or whether it's pillows. Every design is important because everything comes together. Now, how about with your clothing? Where does line fit in to your clothing? Well, first of all, you have a line in the silhouette of whatever you wear, right? Then you have a length of line in your top or your sweater, in your skirt. In your pants, there are lines. There are lines in every jacket you wear. There are lines in every dress. If you're a man, there's a line that's created with your tie, the length of the line. There are lines in the silhouette of your jacket, the length of your jacket, even the length of your slacks. There are lines in everything you wear. Now, where else do we have lines? How about if we look into the garment itself? So there's a neckline, right? There's a lapel line. There's a hemline. Have you seen some hems, of course, that are most, which are straight across, and then some hems that are very drapey and very curvy, maybe graduated? Have you seen hems that are even pointed, that are angular? Some of those things work on you and some don't. And you can find out what works on you, but it's really, really helpful to understand these distinctions in line before we start. Another place where line shows up, there's line in the length of your shoulder bag. Have you noticed how some people look good in those long, thin straps on their shoulder bag, and some people look like they're wearing a kid's toy purse? Have you ever noticed how some people look good in a very heavy line on the strap, a thick line, and the strap can be very wide, and some people don't? Have you noticed how some people can wear long, long necklaces, and some people look better in shorter necklaces? Where else do you see lines? Well, let's see. There's lines in your hairstyle. They can be not just the length of the line, but if you have a hairstyle that is short to medium and you blow it dry or you curl it or maybe you just scrunch it and the lines wind up coming out like this, those are lines. There's lines in everything you buy. There's lines in everything you wear. Now, when we start to teach about distinctions in line, it's good to teach with something that isn't fashion, that isn't your hair, that isn't anything like that, so personal. Do you want to know why? Well, it's because as soon as I start talking about clothing, all of your opinions come up. When I had hair salons, I had fashion centers and I had hair salons, and I was a fashion designer for a few decades. And when I trained hair designers, what I would teach them at the very beginning, after teaching them the theory of, my design elements and my Rebel Holiday system, is I would teach them to stand behind the client, look in the mirror, and just say one thing to the client, brand new client. So, Susan, tell me about your hair. And stop talking. Guess what? It was like a fire hose. Oh my goodness. There she would go off. And you know what? That's good. That's important, because I wanted my hair designers, and they wanted, of course, too, to serve the client. I wanted them to know, what that client dealt with, because there's one thing that the hair designer can make the hair look really great on the day they do the hair. But then what about the next day and the next day and the next day? I'm sure this has happened to you. It's happened to everybody. And it depends on a lot of variables. Do they live near the windy ocean? Do they live in the desert where it's dry? I mean, there's a lot of variables with hair. So we have a lot of opinions about ourselves, about what looks good on us and what doesn't look good on us. Some of those are valid, and some of them, quite frankly, aren't necessarily. So when you get objective. So what I want to show you today, I'm going to show you with art. Because art is something that you're not necessarily emotionally involved with unless you're buying it or, deciding whether you like it or not. So here's what I'd like to show you. I'd like to show you first that lines have a general quality. They actually have many qualities, but they have a general quality, and they have distinctions, many distinctions. One of the distinctions is, are they angular? Right? These are angular lines in this painting. And they're fairly clean lines. If you've heard the term clean lines, you probably thought, well, what in the world is that? I remember the first time I heard it. I was still probably a teenager. Clean lines. Well, how can a line be dirty? I kind of thought to myself. Well, it's not about clean and dirty. It's about the smoothness of the line and the definition of the line. So these are fairly clean lines, right? And these are fairly clean lines. Do you see how there is a smoothness, a definition, like you can see where the green is and where the yellow is, right? Now, what's the difference? What's the biggest difference between these two paintings? Well, these lines create angles, and these lines are curved. Now, everyone can wear better either angular lines or curved lines. And it depends on, guess what? The natural harmonious pattern in you, in your face, in your body, and I don't mean aging and I don't mean weight. I'm talking about the natural harmonious pattern that's in your face and that's in your body, regardless of what you weigh. Because that pattern is with you at birth and you have it all your life. So whether or not you can wear more angular lines or more curved lines is dependent on the natural pattern that you have, right? And what you want generally is harmony, because harmony is part of nature. It's everywhere in nature, and harmony, quite frankly, is very connected to what we call beauty. In fact, I would say it's almost impossible to separate harmony and beauty. They're almost synonymous to me, because beauty is harmonious, and harmonious things are beautiful. And that's why you want to learn about design elements. You want to learn about design elements because it shows up everywhere in your life, in your face, in your body, in your clothing, in your home. And when you understand design elements, and in this case we're talking about line, then you have some power. Then you can make decisions knowing that that new chair is going to be perfect in your home, with the lines in the living room and the lines in the fireplace and the lines in the archway, and it's also going to go with the couch and the footstool and everything else. And when you go out to buy a vase, you'll know what you're looking for to make the whole harmonious. So that's what we're teaching. We're teaching harmony for you. to use in your life. It happens at many different levels. And this is a fun way of learning it with art. And I hope you enjoy the art. They're my paintings, I painted them. In fact, pretty much all of the paintings I'm going to show you as we learn together are paintings that I painted because I just love it. It brings me joy, it's fun, and we could talk about that another day. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. Rebel Holiday and you, tell your friends about this series. And once you learn about the design elements, you're going to be able to use this. Trust me, you really will. So this week or tomorrow, your assignment is to go out into the world and start looking at lines. Look at buildings, look at cars, look at clothes, look at people, look at furniture, look at everything, and notice, look at nature, and notice the lines. Thank you. This is Rebel Holiday, signing off.